Back. The last day, the last session, or two sessions together as the last day. And so today we have a session on reflections, of course, towards the end. But I think the entire session is around a kind of reflections only, where we have to put our whatever we have gathered in the last 4 days into some kind of a practical use in terms of a simulation game. And so we are already a bit late. So Professor Peter Noringa, over to you.
All right, good. Before we go into the game, and I will explain again how we're going to do that, I first wanted to do a presentation on different styles of bargaining. And I've also asked you to do this test. Yeah, I see people nodding. I don't know how you have come out yet, but we can talk about that later. And you could see in your scores when you do the test that it's not 100% and the other things are 0, but it sort of goes from the highest to the lowest. And some people are very strong on, well, problem solving, or what was the other, avoidance, and we'll talk about that afterwards. This is a sort of getting you started on different sort of styles. This is actually not something that I have developed myself. This is from a colleague of mine at ISS, Jameson Lingle, who also works at UC Davis, that's a university in the US, where he is doing this kind of continuing in professional education, and mediation, or soft and hard bargaining in this case, is one of the topics that he teaches. But I just wanted to take you through this relatively quickly. There are lots of slides, but there's not too much to tell, but there is a sort of aha thing at the end, hopefully. Okay, so the question to start with is, how do you bargain? Yeah, does your approach change with context? Now, given the discussion we had this week, I think all of us would say, yeah. But still, many people seem to, once they go into a negotiation, they suddenly freeze, in a sense, mentally, and they use the kind of style that is inherent to them. There are, in the traditional literature, there are two ways of bargaining, to keep it simple: soft and hard. And you can see here the list. Let me just take a few points. Yeah, if you're soft bargaining, you want to reach agreement, while if you're hard bargaining, you want to win, great victory. I don't want to talk about Trump again too much, but it's clear that Trump's bargaining style, he himself feels that he has a tough bargainer. Yeah. A soft bargainer tries to avoid a contest and is likely to yield somewhat to pressure in order to get an agreement. Yeah? While a hard bargainer will apply pressure and insist on their position. Yeah? That's the basics. Now, the problem with this kind of bargaining is that it doesn't seem to actually achieve the kinds of things that we often see as the fair criteria, the 3 criteria. Did the bargaining produce a wise agreement? We'll see what is wise, but you already probably have an idea. Was it efficient? And did it improve or at least not damage the relationship between the parties? Because there's also a future. So you have to, again, meet each other at some point, we assume. And a wise agreement, therefore, can be defined as one that meets the legitimate interests of each side to the extent possible, resolves conflicting interests fairly, is durable, and takes community or broader interests into account. Sort of, this is what we would all want to be able to achieve in a negotiation, in a bargaining situation. So, for a second maybe, or a minute, reflect back on your experiences with bargaining. What has your experience been with these approaches? Do you consider yourself typically a soft or a hard bargainer, or have you suffered from hard bargainers in the past in your life? What would be your reflection on that?
Peter, I would consider that I come in between, neither soft nor hard.
Okay, well that's the next slide actually.
It depends on the situation and the kind of bargaining I'm doing for a particular context.
Okay, okay. Well, that is a very balanced, nuanced answer.
Yes, because like for example, if I have to do bargaining for a project to get from the funders, so that's a different kind of a bargaining. Or maybe from the ministry, I have to, pull out some money for my project, so it's a different kind of a bargaining.
Yeah.
If I'm like around 28 members working under me, and there are some human resource issues, that bargaining is very different.
Yeah. Well, it's clear from your experience and status and situation that in this room you would be one of the more experienced bargainers, probably, and that you have learned the hard way where and when to apply soft and hard bargaining. Okay. Just keep it in the back of your mind, yeah? Because there is an alternative, and that is in a way already mentioned a bit, and that is what is called solution bargaining styles, to change the game, to negotiate on the merits, and to not just be soft or hard, but to be principled, and to not just see participants as friends or as adversaries, but trying to jointly solve a problem. The goal is a wise outcome reached efficiently and amicably. Now, in the game that we will play later on, you may think back now and then about, am I doing this to reach a wise outcome? What style am I using now? And which style do you think fits with the character that you will be preparing for? Yeah, because there are different characters in this simulation game. So you need to adjust to their presumed bargaining style. Okay, now, as I said before, I didn't make this, so don't blame me for some of the pictures perhaps. But we now go into an example of a married couple, Ken and Karen, who both make a living as social media influencers. They live in a very nice guest house in the hills of Malibu, in the US. And they have a daughter, and her daughter is called, what was it, Diane. This is the frame now, yeah? And these two are going to bargain on something. They usually begin the day filming on a Monday so that they can edit over the week and get their video out by Friday. This is what they do for a living, yeah? In an expensive house in Malibu. So there's all kinds of privilege here, but that's not the topic for discussion. The topic for discussion is these two oranges. Ken has found these oranges in the kitchen. This gives him an idea for a simple video where he can really show off his talents and assets. Yeah? And in a way, look at this metaphorically. So this is the bone of contention, perhaps, because this is Ken. He begins by filming himself cutting an orange in the kitchen. Karen is filming her journey into the kitchen to go grab the two oranges that she bought yesterday for her video today. She sees Ken cut the first orange and she goes like,
You didn't ask me.
you recognize this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah? Everybody who lives together with other people will recognize these things from happening. Yeah? And Ken says, well, I was here first and I already started, so, and you don't even like oranges. So I need both for my video. And Karen says, I cannot believe you just took those and started using them without asking me. I literally bought them for my video today. I need both oranges and I need them now. Yeah? And Ken says, you don't even like oranges, make a different video, get out of here. And Karen puts her phone down and says, if you don't give me those oranges, yeah? So the temperature in the room is increasing. And Ken says, ah. And Karen says, ah. Right. So they are at a standoff. Their hard bargaining, positional approach has failed so far to produce a solution. They are both feeling frustrated and unsatisfied about the present situation. So it was not wise, it was not efficient, there is no agreement, and it seems to be damaging the relationship, at least in the short run. Diane hears her parents arguing, and she is also annoyed, so she gets into the game. And she comes into the kitchen and says to her dad, look Dad, Mom bought those oranges yesterday specifically for her video today. You didn't buy them, you should have asked Mom first if you could use them. So there's mediation starting here, yeah? And then she tells her mom, you should have told Dad you were going to use them for your video and put a note on them or something to claim them. You know Dad likes oranges, and he did already start making his video. It wouldn't be fair to make him start recording a whole new video from scratch. It would take so much time. So she's trying to move towards a middle position. If either of you care about this family at all, this is where the blackmail comes in, the moral issue, then you need to compromise. There are two oranges. Obviously, the only fair thing to do here is to split them up. Dad, you take the one you already cut, and Mom, you take the other. Now, Karen and Ken, now realizing that they want to protect their family relationship, so the compromise is made in order to maintain harmony in the family. Ken takes the cut orange and spends the rest of the day making his video. Karen takes the whole orange and spends the rest of the day making her video. Diane goes to a friend's house. Is it now sorted? No. The upshot is still to come. The intervention moved their parents into soft bargaining, positional approach to negotiation. They were able to find an agreement. But was it the best possible agreement? And was it wise? And did it improve the relationship? Actually, they go about their schedule, and on Friday they both post their videos. As usual, they share and they watch each other's videos, and then they discover something interesting. In Ken's video, he grinds the half oranges to get the juice out, because that's what he wanted. Yeah? He throws the peels into the trash and continue making his world-famous orange juice. Karen's video, she peels the orange. She throws the inside of the orange into the trash because she really hates the taste of oranges, and begins to crush the orange peel into a pulp she can use for a special face mask recipe. Yeah, so they could have reached a much wiser agreement if they would have not immediately gone like this, but they would have tried to find out, what actually are you using this orange for? If you would be principled problem solvers instead of just trying to win the argument. So the 4 basic points for principled bargaining is to separate the people from the problem, which didn't happen here. Yeah? To focus on interests, not the positions. The position was, I want these oranges. But that's not the real point. The point was, what actually do they need that orange for? And couldn't they actually work something out? I mean, it's a very simple example, but it's an illustration of a broader point. Invent multiple options looking for mutual gains before deciding actually what to do. So explore the issue instead of immediately thinking, oh, they want what I want, so we need to fight about this. And insist that the results be based on some objective standard. And that's the story of Ken and Karen and the two oranges. As an introduction to bargaining styles. Maybe we can have a little bit more light in the room now that we don't need to watch the screen. So we can talk also about the bargaining styles, unless there are, of course, questions about this introduction. Are there questions about oranges or about Ken and Karen?
Peter, one thing, maybe a kind of a question comes to my mind is that, see, first of all, I will put it like that, it's a different, in India, the situation is slightly different.
Of course.
It won't be a situation like in Ken and that's other ladies, the situation will not be there like that, where maybe that it depends upon a case to case, where Diane will intervene in Indian context, it would be slightly different.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Yeah.
But the question is that, do both of them understand each other properly or their work profile? Because then this argument never comes.
True.
If two oranges are there, and if Ken already knows what he's supposed to do with those oranges, and the lady, she also knows what she's supposed to do, and it is very communication between both of them were very clear.
Yeah, it would never have happened like
It would
this.
never have happened.
They would immediately have realized, oh, you probably need the peels, and I probably want the juice.
Yeah, so it could have been solved beforehand.
Well, but that is often the case with negotiation processes. If you would have known beforehand what really the other party is after, in terms of what you think they are after and whether you know what they're after. And this also brings us to the guest lecture by Ruard on different kinds of knowing. If they, and of course it's a bit artificial in the sense we would assume that if they are married for a couple of years and they are making a life out of doing this sort of videos, they would probably know that they actually use different parts of it. But it's just an illustrative example. And yes, husband and wife may not feel equal enough to oppose each other, and a young child may not intervene. It's all culturally context dependent, yes. But I think the idea still stands that if you don't think through, preferably together, not just I want that orange, but what do you want it for? Yeah, and could we find a way in which we both get what we want?
Yes.
Then the orange is a metaphor for many other things.
So a clear communication between two individuals or maybe two participants is a very important aspect.
Yeah.
Any kind of starting with a negotiation or a bargaining or whatever we call it.
Yeah, and in the bargaining that we will enter into in a minute, there are 5 different actors, and they all want something out of that negotiation, and they may team up with particular others or not. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't mention yesterday, so I will mention it now. The negotiation can involve that let's say 2 people at some point say, well, we first want to sort of meet separately in a corner and then we will come back to the negotiating table. Yeah, all these sorts of things are allowed. And to briefly repeat what I said yesterday, because not everybody who is here now was here also yesterday afternoon. It's a negotiation game about a new frugal innovation developed by 2 founders, and it's all in your description. I assume you have read that, so I'm not going to go into all the details. Yeah, 2 people have founded an enterprise in which they are starting to develop and test this medical device called the L10, which helps to identify or diagnose tuberculosis. Then there is somebody from the Chamber of Commerce who is interested in particular bits of that story. And there's somebody from the Ministry of Industry who is interested in other things. And then there is the outside force of a multinational company coming with 1 or 2 persons from abroad who have a plan to buy this new invention. And the rest is as yet unclear to you. So what we can do next now is to, well, first we need to count. Who will participate in the game? Everybody who's in the room, right? Except maybe Saradindu. You want to play? No? No, you want to help me with walking around and maybe talking to people if things really get ugly? Yeah, then we show this video, or we come back to the oranges and we say, look, wait, don't hit the guy from the multinational. He can't help it. He's also just doing his job. Yeah. Okay. Padmaza, are you joining the game or you want to
No,
keep a distance? Okay. So then let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 people.
Peter, if you permit me, I won't join the game.
Okay, fine.
Because of certain reasons.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, 18 is a better number for me
Yes.
than 19.
Yeah, that's why I want to save you also.
Yeah, but that's not the reason, of course. Is there anybody else who, for personal reasons, would like to watch but not participate? I should have maybe said that before. That applies to you as well? Sure?
It's 17, right?
Okay, now then we are at 16. You're also not joining? No? Okay.
Okay, I'll join.
You have read?
Yes, it's
Okay. Then you can join.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Then does that mean we have 15 or 16? 16. Right. Okay.
Well, then I'll have to walk out. Because I know where and where we were and we.
Are you convinced, Mahinder? Yeah. Yes. Okay, so 18 back. Back to 18.
Back to 18. You want to in or out?
Well, I guess out.
You guess out. Okay. Then
You're out?
you're also out?
Yes, I.
Okay, so there are 3 people out from the 19 people that are sitting here, right? So we are at 16. Okay, no problem. That just means that in some settings, the multinational company will not be with 2 persons, but with 1. And then we can still do 3 groups. So 3 sets of negotiation. Yeah? Who will not talk to each other during the negotiation, because that would be a bit too much. But in the first round, I will ask those who play the same role to sit together to devise a strategy, to help each other to think through. Because you will get from Padmaza in a minute, the founder 1 people, that will be 3, will get another piece of paper with the hidden history of founder 1. Well, hidden history, the sort of more details about what she or he wants to get out of this negotiation. Then same for founder 2, for the ministry person, for the Chamber of Commerce, and for the multinational company. Yeah? Are there any persons who really desperately want to have a particular role, or can I just go with numbers?
Founder 1.
You want to be a founder 1? Okay. That's it? Good. Then let me just calculate it. So you're a founder 1, then you are a founder 2. Good, you're a founder 2. Then you are the business development manager of the Chamber of Commerce. And you are the official of the Ministry of Industry. And you are a multinational company representative, and that fits because you have put on a jacket today. No, I'm joking. Yeah, so that, yeah, let's stay with that. That's sort of the first group. Then a founder 1, founder 2, Ministry of the Commerce person, Chamber of Commerce. You were in the end, right? So you're the Ministry of Industry person, and then you are with the multinational company, and you are not in. And then which of the two of you want to join him as being with the multinational company? Yeah? Okay. That means that you are founder 1, you are founder 2,
I'm out.
you're out, you're the Ministry of Industry, Chamber of Commerce, and a multinational company representative. Now, if everybody can remember who they are, you are not yourself anymore. Yeah? To make it easier, let me give some guidance. If all the founder 1s can collect in that corner and be given by Padmaza their secret additional information. So the founder 1 persons can collect there. Then maybe the founder 2 persons can collect here. Founder 2. That's also 3 persons, right? Yeah. Then the Chamber of Commerce people. Can they join here? Also 3 people, if I have done my job right. Okay. Ministry of Industry. 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe you can walk up to Padmaza and get your document, but not talk to the founder individuals as yet. Oh, Padmaza has joined on this side now, so sorry. You're even faster than I can explain.
This is for the 3 of you. Have
Yeah.
one sheet each, and please be careful not to share this information with the rest of your group.
Yeah. The other 3 are now walking that side, yes. And then finally the multinational company representatives. So that's 4. So 2 of you will be alone in a negotiation, and there is 1 team of 2. Yeah? And you will all 4 get the same information about your the task that you have been given by your management when you were flying to Tanzania to buy this
medical device.
this mysterious medical device. Okay, then the next step is that I will give you, let's say, 10 minutes or so to read your initial additional information and talk a bit with each other what this means. Yeah? So that you can devise a kind of a strategy together.
Set of papers.
Oh, okay.
You can be observers if you want.
Yep.
Yeah?
No,
So
I
just
asked for the set of papers. I want to go through them, each one of them.
but then you have to be really
No, I'm silent.
Okay, good.
I just want
good.
to
No,
understand.
that's fine. That's fine.
I know,
I could also
because I,
even read them.
Yeah, so you can get a full set, but then you have to promise that you will
yeah. I will keep
that you will only smile when you hear certain things, but you will not intervene.
because I myself played case studies.
Good,
Our
good.
case studies I play, so I know.
Okay, okay.
Is this case study, is this simulation game is available on the website or something?
No, we
It was developed.
James and I developed it last year in October, and we played it once with our students. and this is the second try. So it is as yet sort of in development. So it's not yet formal, it's not yet published or anything like that. So it's in process. So any comments also later in terms of, well, maybe you should write something on this, or maybe there was a gap there, is much appreciated.
Because that when I after I have gone through the entire thing, because if it is a one page, then generally we call it as a caselet. It's not a case; it is a caselet. So I was trying to look at what would be the questions.
Ah,
I was trying to look at what are the questions for the answers, because the answers are all hidden here.
yeah.
So find out the answers
Yeah.
to those questions. And you say that they have to come up with a strategy to deal with
to get into the negotiation and to see what they want to get out of it. But that is indeed not spelled out explicitly.
And
That's
I was looking at points of potential conflict.
of course, yes, that is what professionals do. Yes. Um, yeah, what time do you want to break?
That's up to you. How do you think we have to set it up? Approximately 3:30 to 4, somewhere between the two.
Okay, well, but then we can probably play it because it takes maybe half an hour once they actually get going. So 4 o'clock should be fine. Yeah? And you can give these two gentlemen a full set, and then we will ask them at the end also to reflect about what they have listened to, so they can do part of my job then. Yeah, so you sort of talk among each other a little bit about what have you picked up from this? Or first read a bit more. Yeah, sure. Are you clear? I mean, are there some? No? Okay, good, good. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay, good. Please go ahead. Are you ladies clear about the text? And okay, good. No, the MNCs seem to be competitive towards each other. So we'll give them also a bit of time to. And I will say one other thing before we start, that is that once you get into this, you can also forget about some of these things, right? Because that's what real people also do. They have an assignment from their manager, but then in the heat of the negotiation, they may do other things. So you don't need to constantly go back to the paper and see whether the solution is there. You just follow whatever you think an MNC guy would do. And it's typical that all the MNC people are all guys. So, but that, of course, is a coincidence. Yeah? Okay, so you can also talk a little bit about whether you have a similar idea in mind of where to get to, and then I will leave it to you.
There will be 3 groups, right?
Yes, yes, 3 different groups. Yeah, and I think the 2 of you are together and you are both on your own. So there are 3 negotiating tables. Yeah. And of course, once you're on your own, you have to improvise, right? And you will see all three tables will have different outcomes. And that's the whole point. That because people bargain differently. Okay, time is up. This time it's really up. Please let me first say one more thing. Can you please stop talking? Let me give you one more bit of a story before we go into the actual groups. This is a luxury. In a real situation, you would never have a couple of like-minded people with whom you can discuss before you go into the negotiation. Well, sometimes you can, but usually you are much more alone to start with. So this was a luxury, sort of, because it's a class context, so it is like a given. Secondly, once the negotiation starts, you're out on your own, yeah? And you can improvise as much as you want. You don't need to go back to the paper and say, oh, what was I supposed to do or say here? No, just go for it. Use your instincts, use your imagination, be creative. You now know more than enough what there is to know about, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, this is my role. These other people want probably this or that. Do we know? Think of the oranges, yeah? Do we know what they really want and why? So have fun also, yeah? Don't cramp. There's no need for that. Have fun, and then afterwards we'll take maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll have a break, and after the break we can discuss for each of the tables what was their outcome, if any outcome has been reached, because in some cases it's stalled. That's also possible. Yeah, at some point I will say 5 more minutes. If you want to reach an agreement, you have to push now. But if not, then not. I mean, yeah, in the real world also, the Ukraine war is not solved in 24 hours. Yeah, so, and then we will do a feedback session about the different outcomes. And these two gentlemen who have opted out of participating in the game but have received all the secret information of the different actors, they can listen in but are not allowed to say anything in the meantime, but they can give a reflection on what happened, how they see it, and then maybe Sharadindu also wants to say something, and then I will probably also want to say something, and then we conclude the game. Yeah, so the first negotiation maybe in that corner, then one here in the middle and the other one here. So one founder one on that side, one here and one there, and the same for all the other teams. You can decide where you want to go. Yeah, so you are all alone and you are alone and the two of you are together. So there's one negotiation team where they have to deal with 2 people from the multinational company. Yeah, you can also, if you prefer outside, would you prefer outside? More space?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah?
We'll talk.
Maybe 2 can stay here and 2 can go.
Well, there are 3 groups in total.
Oh, so there.
So I have no objections as long as the observers can find you. So don't hide somewhere for your negotiation. We should be able to find you and listen to you. So maybe 2 in this room, 1 on that corner and 1 there, and then 1 group wants to go out? you figure it out. There are only 3 options, so it's not that complicated. Padmasa will arrange it.
Yes, actually the problem with going outside is that it won't be recorded and we need the session recorded.
It's okay, right? So negotiation anyway we are not recording. Feedback will record, that will happen inside.
Because if we sit here, we'll over here. Okay, fine. So half an hour then outside.
But the camera should continue, and one of the groups should be here.
Yes.
At least one group should be here. Yes. Make sure you separate out. That you have one of each in a negotiation.
And before you move outside, can you please finalize the groups once?
Yes. Let's be sure who is who.
One group is, let's say, Kajal, what are you doing? You're in our group.
So can you consolidate the groups? Is this a full negotiating table?
Yeah. So your group,
Group.
which color do you want? I need yellow. So this is group yellow.
So you are all different, right? There's no overlap in your group.
Let's take founder one.
Now you are with 5 different. Okay.
Okay.
So all 5 of you are different. You know your roles. You will first maybe do a round of introduction so that you know who is doing what.
I'm founder one. I'm founder two.
And I'm from the L10.
Okay. Then you are ready to leave, but don't go too far so that we can find you. Okay.
Can I find the second group? Team Green.
Team Green.
Okay.
Do we have one of each?
Founder one. Founder two. COC. Chamber of Commerce. MNC. Okay. Great. You want to move outside? Yes. Okay.
Right. Feel free to not be monitored and.
So, Peter, do you think that either of us, one group can be here and one person can go outside with them and hear them what they are discussing?
Yeah, and you can also sort of switch. You don't need to be the whole time with one group.
Probably that would be.
Yeah, because you can form your own opinions about also how the different groups are operating. What I have done the previous time is just sort of walk around and listen for a few minutes here, then there.
Groups are outside actually.
Yeah, but they are.
This is what, group 1 or group 2?
This is the 3rd group where there are 2 people from the multinational company and 1 each of all the others, right? We have a founder 1, a founder 2. Okay.
I think we have a third observer in this room, so we
Yes.
can shift outside for the 2 groups.
Yeah?
That should be a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, but
We
just
leave
sort
the
of
stuff
move
here.
around.
We just
eh?
leave the stuff here.
Just sort of listen here and there and.
If we draw the conversation back to this, because what are you looking for? I heard our terms and conditions, and we want to send you. That also will make it, but we have certain Okay, sir.
And you don't have to conclude, but in 3 minutes, let's say the room closes and you have to go for dinner or whatever. But
That was it.
already offered what we have to do. Now you please focus what you want exactly. We are adding on some kind of logic.
The team is quite young actually. From the government point of view, the team is very young and they are not experienced to take this. And they are not understanding the, the far side vision of the government.
And that's not a nice thing.
We are scientists.
We are also learning, and from what you are also saying,
Don't take it.
That is not the part of the discussion.
$20 billion. What's your counter? What's your counter?
And we have also compromised on certain things.
15. 13. So your entire is the goal to further your market. So that's not very concrete. So you are just letting me know. And also the thing is, if we work with you on this project, if we come up with another innovation in the next few months or the next year, we would come to you. If you take this product, that's also a plus point. If you work with us on this product, it's a short shot that the next time we are an innovation based startup, and I am a scientist. Exactly, I am a scientist. I work with the government. I've worked on so many projects.
We understand, but we are also implementing something. Like one thing that we have not mentioned is auto bank. So we have this facility with us, bank banking, which means that a simple robust device which can operate without electricity and without internet access. So we have this facility. Yeah. So this facility without internet access and without electricity.
Okay, so taking your product.
I'm taking your product with our technology. We can reach.
You can reach the remotest of areas that do not have power and electricity.
Yes.
So 8 million से plus आता है. 8 million तो
I mean,
you
also
have
this great
आपको और आपको short profit उसके बाद भी it's a continuous flow process once we start producing through your channels.
That it depends.
And you will create local employment. You will help boosting the local economy. That will also come back. And when we create more products, we are coming to you.
You are right, but this product is in very early phase.
So, but you also know the success.
You also attracted to it because of the success.
You also know the
Initial
success.
success is there.
Yes.
So you do believe it's a promising innovation?
Yes, this is promising innovation at the theoretical level. But let's see the ground realities.
Yes,
Ground
yes.
reality
May I
response.
intervene? So whatever the discussion is going on, what I have finally concluded is that we are focused on your own government. Right? That is fine. That is your opinion, and you are free to give your opinion. What if they are okay? So you want to how much you are settled at 13 you are saying. You are okay with 13. 20 is you have asked for.
Last,
Yes.
last year.
So what are you ready with?
13.
And board members and board equity.
No. Right now we are talking about the pricing.
Pricing as well as and board members.
Madam, I got it. Government does not have that much time for discussion. We have you have a lot of ministry meeting. What are you settled at 13?
Yes.
Okay, now let's make it 10 initially. Okay, just listen to my proposal. Let's make it 10 for maybe for 5 years, and you can work also with the ministry. We will give you land. Right? It would be land given to you also for 5 years. That is the only contribution government will do. Let's just sort it out between you, and government will not go in loss. Because all the permissions, all the compliances you have to go through with us. Keep that in mind to do your business and you to continue your innovation. Does it sound good?
And these land rights are for
To establish your
yes, for how many years?
5 years I just
5
said.
years.
Yes.
Lease period.
Lease period.
So that's the contribution from the government. Because anyways you can't do anything in the country without the government giving us.
We will need to wrap up.
5 minutes? No, he has given us 3 minutes, we are already at 10 minutes.
Yeah, so this
US dollar 10 million you are saying.
Yes.
I'm not giving money.
What are you offering? 10?
I'm not giving money. Kindly listen to my support once again.
I think we can undo the 10.
Madam, they were ready for 12 million. What are you
No,
doing?
no,
They were
no.
not,
We are not
madam.
talking.
Okay, no, but I am giving, see, the government is supporting only when you are giving 12 million along with the equity and the position in the board. Only on that, see, I would support my people.
5 मिनट में ब्रेक होगा टी ब्रेक कर देना
You kindly write, madam, no, just a second, I will advise that you kindly write
around
5 years,
4:30
the party,
4:40 around
and then
6
12.
We can work with 10 million, of course. But the condition that you have is the transportation.
I said to start with the bare minimum, the 10 million they have to give.
Yes.
Right, that is the
And
must
board
mandate.
members. Board
Yes,
membership for quality.
yes.
Here, please write 10 million and board membership for quality control. Equity.
And you also remember, so you are a scientist and that's very good if you are working for the country, but you cannot completely sideline the government. Always remember that.
And it's not just about sidelining the government. I just had my own apprehensions because certain
No matter
things
if that
which
gets
happened in the
has to be well
certain
researched.
things which happened in the past, I was not very.
I totally agree. I respect
Yes.
I respect it. But if see, do not always see the negative side of the government. No. See the
It's
positive
not
side.
just an exercise, ma'am. As
Okay, the final offer is before, yeah, we can just
Yes, please.
So what is
Finally,
the
we are offering 10 million.
And 10th for the initial 5 years.
Yes.
For 5 years I'm giving the land, and after that it's 12. I'm repeating again.
Yes.
Okay.
And board membership.
Yes. How much percent of equity you want, you please tell them. And I will send my team to see if the government can also have some equity. So the deal is yet to be finalized. Yeah, I have to also save my job. No? I'm in ministry, it's not easy. I have to generate business for my government
Advisor.
also.
Advisor.
See, one thing that I want
This is really interesting. You know, work with different age group of people, honestly. Yes, very much.
All three groups discussions for
And so you joined this thing, and I will say it very positively.
51,
49.
49.
No, madam. All of you just listen to me. You cannot really ask how much? 51 and 49, because as I said, the government also has to have some stake.
What do you suggest?
Okay, so let's say I'm giving a very tentative thing because I'm not the finance expert. Again, I'm repeating
It
this.
has to come from higher team.
Yes, so I'm giving a tentative idea. So let's say 30, 30, 40.
30, 30, 40.
30 government, 30 you, and 40 rent.
government have this.
You are doing your business in my country. Can't I have 30 more percent of stake? Government is giving you land for 5 years. Huh? That you're supposed to give. That if you establish your business in any other country, that there also you have to give taxes.
I'm sure that the government
And
has
the taxes-
a double taxation avoidance treaty.
Yes,
with your
and whatever the see, you will be giving taxes to government, right? But in a way, government is returning those taxes to the people only, no? We are also giving you land. We will not, no.
We are buying the thumbs of the startup. It's not.
But again, I said you have forgotten. You have to deal with the government for the compliances and the policies and the procedures.
So 2 minutes, sir. 2 minutes.
It's up to you.
So almost done.
We're almost happy.
Okay.
Final stage of negotiation going.
Yeah.
Fight.
Don't hit each other.
Fight on this.
Because you have to see the sustainability. See, they are from, see, the one thing you are not, I guess, realizing, and you may tell me I may be wrong. They are the employees of the MNC, they are not the MNC itself. So what happens if anything happens to their job and everything is just,
No, but ma'am, sorry to interrupt. We are representative of the company and the whole thing has been done on the paper.
exactly you answered
It's
my
not
question,
we.
you are representing the company, you are not the company. I am a government employee,
You
I
are
will
also
stay here in
representing
industry.
you are also representing the government and everything has been on the paper, the document, the official document. So you cannot blame that the person is more important than the boss.
Yes, what's your line?
So we have. Thank you.
Okay, can we? Yes. One more multinational that was missing. Okay. Now let's try to wind down and
Going on negotiation.
yeah.
No, it's still going on.
This guy. No, never mind.
Let's now take a minute and realize that we are actually not negotiating for an elephant which doesn't exist, but we are in this classroom, right? So we can relax and settle. Um, so what we would like to do now is to talk a little bit about what has happened. Yeah, and why that is of interest given the course that we have been doing. And want to do that in a couple of steps. First, I'm going to ask each of the groups to briefly, maybe one or two persons, or at least two, not one, because then maybe we get a one-sided view, but at least two persons per group to tell us briefly what actually happened. Yeah, so that's from the groups themselves. Then we have two professional observers, or at least they were made because they didn't want to participate in the game. They accepted the role of observers and they were taking notes, as you have seen. I will ask them to give their reflections on what they saw, especially about the process and about the differences between the three groups. Because as you will see, as I have also experienced walking around, the three groups were quite different in how they handled this and in who felt that they should take the lead and who was pushy and not pushy, and how, to what extent that makes a difference, whether you're soft or hard or somewhere in between, and whether, etc. So after these two, then Saradindu will also share maybe a few thoughts, and if I can still think of something that they haven't said, then I will also say something to round it off. And then after that, we will do the evaluation feedback session, which will be facilitated by Padmaza. Okay, so I would like to start. Saradindu.
I mean, when they are discussing the outcomes, if whosoever is reporting can also tell us briefly about the occasions where you had to go beyond the drafts that were given to them.
Yeah.
Where you had to have some kind of an impromptu thought, and which was important for the final decision. If you can recollect and tell us.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Which improvisations have helped you to actually get it afloat and push through? Which things impress the others and which things everybody would say, yeah, but not for me. Yeah? I wanted to start with the group that was outside here downstairs, so that the multinational guy is, I can see him right there, and some of the others are around him still. Would you like to start?
So, our group, we came to probably they can come here and then they can represent. Why did you can come here?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. But then maybe you should also all come, and you can.
All of them can come.
Yeah.
And then give a complete presentation.
And then you can tell us, because he will undoubtedly give a biased summary of events.
No, I will not be biased.
All right. So this is what was the color of your group?
Blue.
Fluorescent green or yellow, whatsoever. Yes.
The yellow team. Well, not team, the yellow group. All right. So go ahead.
We came to a wise agreement, I would say. I would like to say that, of course. So the MNC was successful in buying the company for 10 million USD. Yes.
So that's why it's for them.
Plus,
we had to give a cut to the. We have to give 10%. Yes. I mean, we will have to tell that, right?
Yeah. You gave 10 million too, of 1 million?
No, 1 million.
I have a suggestion. Really, this kind of a simulation game. Let the founder explain, because after all, the device was given by them.
Okay.
That was.
So what do I start with? What was my mandate? Or okay.
Well, you start with what is your main experience about what has happened?
Can you just take out the mask? We can't give will not be able to. Right now it's not
Okay, so basically my mandate was I wanted to sell on a good price because should I tell them about this?
Well, not all the details, but
Okay, so
some
that-
of, because not everybody
I
knows
was-
this. Only
Yeah,
the
so-
other founders know about what
Yeah,
was
so
your
I
dream.
was ready to sell at a good price. I had made the product, so I was under the impression that I will have the major stake if it comes, if we sell or if we, whatever money we get. So I was able to come to a conclusion that 10 million, if we get 10 million, 7.5 would come to me and 2.5 would go to her, since we had a loan of 1 million each. So that's what we did. We made many counter offers. We also asked for royalties, which they did not agree to. And we have also given them the patent.
All right, all of that for 10 million.
Why would that be? Explain.
Yeah, that you
because
can-
of the complications of the process in patenting. Because we were the ones who would file the patent, and it would take a time of 5 to 6 years, let's say.
Right.
So, and also the marketing expenses to the patent and to the innovation to reach the remotest of the locations. We offered such conditions.
It's clear that you have gone into that role convincingly. Yes. All right.
I, as founder too, I had the motto of catering to the needs of the poorest in my local community. So I had put 2 conditions before making this offer. That one, you set up the company in our country, not in China, so that it generates the local employment. And the second condition was to provide concessions to the economically weaker sections in the society. So the first condition he did not agree, because he said that the trade laws are quite strict in our place as compared to his country, and he made a minor change in the draft that we were given, that he said that he already has a company here but not a manufacturing unit. So I asked him to increase the number of employees, like Indian employees in that company, and the concessions would form the part of his corporate social responsibility. So in this way, my motto was, kind of targeted.
Yeah.
And also, since she was in the need of money, she asked me to have a greater share in the money, 10 million that we are getting. And my main aim is not to earn the profit, but to look after the poorer people in my community. So I agreed to take 2.5 million, and 7.5 million I gave it to her.
Okay, okay. I happen to know that this went quite differently in the other 2 groups, but we'll come to that in a minute. What about your contributions?
So basically, I'm an official from an instrument industry. So now the product is there. So we are into an MOU where we will be supporting them with skill and innovation, and also with public-private partnerships.
Yeah, you can just keep it close to her, then it's okay.
Is that,
Yeah, or you put it up front here on
is
the
that
table.
fine now? So we'll
Yeah.
be helping them with skill and innovation development only if they are ready to have their first manufacturing unit in the remotest of the areas which they have already promised to the founders.
Wow.
So that's how we'll be supporting them and the founders as well. And with every conversation or meetings or details we'll be entering, the founders will always be there, so that they can also implant those skill and innovation, maybe training sessions and everything to the people they are willing to incorporate in.
Okay, thanks. Then,
I would like to add something.
Yeah.
We are also on the advisory committee with the MNC.
Without equity.
Without equity.
Just on the quadruple helix, let's say.
okay, okay.
Of this innovation.
Somebody has been paying attention, yes. All right.
So me being the member of Chamber of Commerce advisor, my main motto was to be on the headlines, that's all, and get the company sold anyhow. And I made to do that, and I'm happy, and I shook hands with them.
She got her 10% cut.
Exactly, for that.
Not 20, but 10.
All right. A 10% cut of 10 million.
Yeah.
And with that 10 million, you were happy? With the 7.5, 2.5? Happy enough?
She started with 20 million, and my aim was also to bring down the cost, because if we sell it for a higher price, it will go as costlier in the market.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I could go with 10 million and 1% royalty, because I would want to keep some cash coming, or maybe
But
give.
I had to improvise that. I had to convince them that the marketing would take time, and also such kind of frugal innovation wouldn't transcend so easily in the market.
Now, why would you think that?
The thing is,
No, I'm joking.
there is a lot of investment that the government of India does on tuberculosis in terms of prevention and detection. So even with their innovation, people would still need to go to the laboratory for the lab tests. So irrespective of the detection, you would still have to use the laboratory. So I had to convince like why people should use the product. I'll have to significantly give in marketing. Put in more money in marketing. So that was my point. And then something that I improvised a bit was like showing that instead of the 5% mandate of CSR for a company in India, our company offers 10% CSR, and then number of employees. Let's say we do outsourcing for advertising in India and advertising and marketing in India. So we had like a 15,000 employee base, and then kind of added a bit that we would incorporate some indigenous communities in our employment base, like 1,000, 2,000 individuals.
Okay, good. For the other two groups, is it clear what this group has done and how they have reached their agreement? Yeah? Okay, then I suggest we go to the second group. Yes. The second group, maybe the group that was here all the time? If they are willing and able to stand here together, at least after their fierce conversations. Okay, I suggest we follow the same sequence, so we start with the founders.
Okay, so I was founder too, and basically while the write-up did say that I was supposed to not have the same desires as founder one, we did work together, we collabed together on a lot of things, and and obviously my aim was to further the interests of the marginalized and the poor people who do not have access to these medical facilities. So we were able to do that. We did come up with a deal with the MNC that we would create production units within India, and we both would be board of directors along.
So also we we also came up with the contract that they would provide us with 10 million for 5 years. It was on a 5-year contract basis, and we also had the equity sharing of 30% to the founders, and we entered into a public-private partnership, 20% to the government and 50% to the MNCs. I'm coming to that. 50% to the MNCs, that's what we proposed, along with us being board members and having quality control over the product, so that good quality product is circulated,
especially within the global
hand. And we also worked with the government to provide local employment, because that's what their ultimate goal was. But ultimately we couldn't reach to an agreement because they wanted 51%, which we thought was a bit not they would, and I told them that 50% is ideal, because you would be getting government tax concessions, cheaper land, relaxation in labor codes, and etc. And we also at the last moment we suggested that we are in the process of a new innovation which would detect dengue. Same way we innovated a product to detect tuberculosis, and and when we finish that innovation, we would give them the contract to produce that. But
okay, so that's a clear moment of improvisation, because
yes.
For as far as I remember, that was not in any brief.
Yes.
But you bluffed your way into a next innovation.
But they still did not agree.
Okay.
So we're still in the process of negotiating. We have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
So I was the representative from the ministry, from the Chamber of Commerce, and the one thing that we negotiated together with the founders was that they had very ethical considerations in their mind in terms of their product, and therefore the proposal of using of them
being appointed as board of members for quality control was a decision that we made in order to bridge that gap. And the one problem which as an advisor I thought wasted a lot of our time, or rather maybe we should have confronted that earlier, was a major trust deficit between the government and the business ecosystem. And that negotiation, the fact that the government had to convince the founders that we are going to lease land to you and we will have tax concessions and regulations, a lot of time was wasted on that. So which I feel like is very relevant in the Indian context also, because the trust deficit, which maybe rightly so, is it sort of really stops innovation from taking place. So
Okay.
I think that was a very realistic scenario that we found, and therefore we could not reach the details of the agreement that the first group had. So that was my observation.
All right, then we go to the ministry, or the ministry is not.
Ministry will give the inputs at the end.
Ministry already taken a lot of time during the discussion. So yes, ministry works on behalf of MNC. So our challenge is the innovator is negotiating a lot of things on the pricing. The demand is, they started from 20 million. So started 20 million, now they're gradually coming to 12, then final 10 million. So we agreed. The whole thing we debated and discussed a lot on the equity. And their more than 50% as a company, and as per our super bosses, they have already clear-cut guideline that we cannot go more than 10 million, and 51 if you will give them, then our stake and the control will go there. So as a MNC, it doesn't suit our, and another thing is they want the manufacturing facility from day one is in India, and we want as a MNC for high profitability, it should be operated from the China, because already the cost cutting scale of economy is there, and the operation, the headquarters in Europe. So we have ensured that yes, we will do in this way, and if the product goes well and it's the response will better, then we will agree your conditions. But first 5 years we'll go with the 51, and then they are in negotiation and going on, still not able to make it.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
So what I noticed from the whole discussion was, see, after all we are MNCs. So
After all, yes.
after all we are MNCs. So what was our aim? To basically to maximize the profit. Finally, that's the aim. But what I noticed during this whole discussion, after a point, that they all have forgotten their aim, why they have come to this, this innovation part, like the founders. The aim of the first founder is to, make a cheap product. And then the second founder has the aim to make it reachable to the rural areas or the remotest areas. And the government, of course, the aim of the government is to settle things between and have the role as a welfare. But finally, in the final the discussion part, I have noticed that all of them were like MNCs.
Okay.
They were all
Everybody.
like entrepreneurs.
Okay.
That's how somehow they were trying to protect their rights, their work. Of course they will do that. But that I noticed. Finally, they were like entrepreneurs. They didn't try to sell the product. They were not. I mean, try to protect their product, but they were like get the maximum benefit out of it, maximum profit out of it, profit out of that. So that's what I noticed.
Okay.
And
Yes,
the government
yes.
is very greedy.
Maybe one comment for founder. Yes.
So just to respond to that, what I think I speak for the both of us is that we are innovators and we are social workers, and we are doing this for the society and for the people. And because we have been doing this for a long time and we want to continue doing this, we want to continue innovating for the people. So I think you need money for that, you need funds for that. So we were looking from that perspective also. We were looking from the future perspective that because we want to work for the people, we want to innovate more, we will need funds. That is why we pushed for equity for the both of us. That is what I wanted to say, that yes, you have to do innovation, you want to work for the people, but at the end of the day, for that too, you do require funds. And yes, initially even I was very skeptical of the government because of their past projects not having the kind of result that we wanted to. But then I also overcame that skepticism and we entered into a public-private partnership, so that the main goal is to promote societal benefit. And of course, I think everyone knows that even I had a personal problem with regards to my sister, and so as to continue working for people like my sister, I do need money, and that is the reality.
Right. Last but not least, in this case, the government.
Before government gives any statement, government would like to correct the statement given by the MNCs that the founders are not trying to make a cheap device, they are trying to make the sustainable device. So there is a difference between making a cheap device and a sustainable device. Now, being a true diplomat, unlike MNCs, Peter, I'll translate it to you. पहले मैंने लोगों के हालचाल लिए, उनके घर की प्रॉब्लम समझी और मैंने ये समझा कि उनका फोकस कहाँ पे है, प्रोडक्ट बेचने पे या जो घर में पर्सनल प्रॉब्लम है उसकी वजह से प्रोडक्ट बेचने में. देयर इज़ अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस. सो पीटर, आई विल ट्रांसलेट इट फॉर यू. They wanted to sell the product, or they were like in a position to sell their product because of that family problem, and for which I appreciate the founder too, to working as a team and not just thinking that it's her problem. So whatever the share is, that is 30 as a team. Right. So in this deal is the 50%, 20% is for government and 30% is for the founders, along with the
Equity and board.
30% equity along with the board of members. And how government has played the role. So the another problem was they were very negative about the government and its system. So I really had to convince that if you're seeing the negative part, you have to see the positive part also.
All right.
And so they were right that government played a significant role in the entire this deal, and I'm very thankful to the personal consultant plus the Ministry of Commerce advisor to understand and portray the government in a positive way. So the communication here plays a very big role. So you get influence, but you have to get the right kind of influence. It's not the brainwashing which any of us has done for each other. And here comes the surprise package on humanities ground totally. I have taken 20% stake for government to convince government to support her in the medical treatment of her family member, because ultimately the family comes first. Money you can earn anytime in your life, maybe 5 years, 2 years or 10 years, but the human life is most important, and that the government was trying to make the founder understand, but it's okay. So whatever happened for good, and right now I got to know, so as this was the surprise element, government would be helping you for the treatment, whatever way possible we can do for you. Okay, and just now I got to know that tomorrow there is a meeting.
Yes.
Right, with the MNC. So government would like to make a very clear statement that even if they are getting 51%, that has to go from your side, not from the government side. Okay, but government would be intact on the 20% stake. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I think it's clear what has happened in this group, and that the difference with the other group is quite fundamental. And again, this is
just the last point. Just the last point. I'm so sorry. MNC. Just the last point. MNC did not explain the ROI on the existing investments which are being done by the company, and what is the sustainability of the investment which is under discussion.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. So the government has the last word in this group. That's clear. Shall we go to the last group that was sitting on the grass? And that also gave me the impression that they seem to be reaching an agreement a couple of times, but not really. Yeah. So this is yet a completely different kind of scenario. No meeting tomorrow for this group? No. Founder 1 and 2, can you start?
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Being a founder 1,
I have my obligations and I have my compulsions, but we had a deep discussion and discourse regarding the deal with the MNC, but unfortunately couldn't make a deal out of it.
Okay.
So reason being that we propose for a deal of 40 million, yeah, 40 million. Initially 40 million,
So you can
but the
it
company
started
he comes
from
down
40
to
million.
that's why that's what we are. I mean, see, we are the innovators and the innovators, and we have the strength that we can make more innovations, the frugal innovations in that particular setting also in future. So we ask him, the company, to that will make more innovations, and we're having a sort of joint venture. Any innovation in this particular case, for example, we say, so we'll be having a joint collaboration on that. Then, but I have my own compulsion that my sister is she needs money for treatment.
Yeah.
And for that purpose, and in that case, I have a very humble discussion with my co-founder too, and she have a solution for that also. So yeah, that's all.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, so in our discussion, as a founder, I was also adding to the strength. We also have an innovation. Innovation is our strength, and also we were sticking to our values. That was health. So that was the binding factor for us to come together, and also not to say some invest time also. Not to say negative words mentioned about the government as well for the time being, because
For the time being, yes.
yeah, and maybe we can talk about that later. But yes, for the given time, we wanted to use these strengths and also know each other's needs. Why they want to come to founders, and why we want to come together and why we need the help for MNCs as well. So we were negotiating there for the price. So price was the place where we were, our final thing got at hold. And because we also want our personal thing to be sorted, which was there, and also do not want to go away with our values thing, which is health in this case. So therefore we were stuck with that thing. And I think the three factors which were very much there all the time, directly or indirectly, was the time value, which is health, and money.
Yeah.
Which that was the thing we are at stage where government was definitely ready to help us with the subsidy on the land and the people, and also on electricity, etc. But because the government will take time to set up things for us, we want things to be done immediately, and again the time was the thing which was again pushing us to do the deal.
Yeah.
To negotiate and do it on time, and the value, because the disease may spread faster, and innovation is our strength, so we can innovate as well afterwards, and we'll continue to innovate. That's one important. So that was the thing that we were trying to find a balance with, all three things together. So we came down to the price on these things, not 40 but 20 or 16 later.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
so
also maybe co-funding my for founder one to tackle the personal problems, and we can
Yeah.
also sell the products that we have.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
We are going to sell the product only, not the whole company is the group one day.
Yeah. We have not sell the company but the product.
Only
And
the product.
yeah.
But it comes to $16 million.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Since my mandate first was to just get the deal, one was the first thing, but it was also at a certain amount. It was at $15 million, but actually the mandate of Chamber of Commerce should actually, rather than it should be to promote entrepreneurs, and that's why I stick to the point that it should be at least be 16 million, because then we can actually say, and then Chamber of Commerce can actually say that we are actually promoting the entrepreneurs. Otherwise, someone who is actually giving their opportunity costs, they're actually giving up their savings, and then they just give it up for like 8 million. That's not something. even if we are just saying with $10 million, that's not something. When we actually go into the deal, MNCs can have various terms and conditions, which they both and even me, we cannot understand and in the very first meeting. So that's what I think, because they can have various terms and conditions under which they get the funding. And also we also came to the point where we said that according as what ministry wanted, that there should actually be a manufacturing unit within India. For example, already Himachal is pharmaceutical, pharmaceutical state. So again, MNC can have their, they can actually build there something where actually a good R&D center can be there, and that is where MNCs can actually come up. And we also settled at this point that since they are the innovators, getting them a good deal will be good, because that will also encourage them and other entrepreneurs also to actually come up with the solutions, the frugal solutions that can be, and then they can get their profit. And again, one has to understand the kind of opportunity cost that they have. They might be making big in US, but they came and did it for us. So that's where the thing came. So that's why we stick to the point. I think now ministry can have their say.
Right, thank you.
So my mandate as being the Ministry of Industry official was to actually convince everybody to set up a local manufacturing unit for the device. But at the same time, I also understood the fact that my mandate is also to promote innovation in our country, because ultimately that's going to drive the economic growth of our country. So I also assured our founders that we are here with you, we are going to support you, we are going to provide you with the land, subsidies and electricity and whatever things that you require from the government. And I also proposed to them a one-time grant. But at the same time, I also recognize the fact that it's their sole right to decide whether they want to sell the company or not. But I was with them. Also for MNCs, I discussed with the MNC my interest that I want industry to be located in, the manufacturing unit to be located in our country, because it will, apart from public health that we all are here for, we are trying to promote economic opportunity that it presents is something which of immense importance for our country. Being a East African country, we are already struggling with many things. So that was it. And I also convinced MNC to think some of my terms, which were locally manufacturing unit, CSR funding, and an R&D unit that they already offered us to, yes, and also the employment opportunities for the country. So as a ministry, I think some of my interests were fulfilled, but I failed to assure my founders that I can help them.
Okay, so no deal as yet.
Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, these founders were the greediest because they began from $40 million, and the major bone of contention was the money, the amount. That's certain, because on the topic of sisters' disease, we assured them that MNC will take care of it through our CSR funding. We offer the most generous deals because on the innovation front, we offered to build an R&D center which will be under them, in the sense they will be considering it. We also offer them a deal where they can be a permanent employee of our firm or join us as a consultant or an advisor and lead the R&D center, so that they can, the kind of innovation which they are talking about, we offer them the resources of our high-tech R&D centers across the world, the data which we can provide, which will be much more beneficial for them to innovate on any other thing. Further, we also share that when you're talking about a particular region, the data is usually skewed for any medical devices, but we can provide you more data from all the races and a different type of people, which will be beneficial. So innovation front, we were actually the most generous to offer them. We also shared more details that if they want to have more patents for the next innovations or any new patents is required for this, obviously we can have a sharing agreement there and will provide the all the credits. The name, the elephant would be there. That's what we also offered. But unfortunately, we were lied to. We were told that they already have the patents, which is not the reality, which later I got to know. So again, there is a mistrust now after knowing more things. Yeah, next is we always kept public health as the first value, because when we started talking, we started with the points of public health, because we have the largest supply chain and logistics across the world. We will be in a very better situation to scale it up, produce it at the large scale, and spread it across the globe. So the public health perspective, that's what we have discussed, and I think there the founder two and MNC almost agreed that public health is one of the concern, and we went on with that. Similar situation was with the innovation part, and with the government we have had discussions that we will be able to provide some jobs, which what we offered is the initial, because they have their manufacturing unit, it's a small unit. We will begin with it, we'll scale it up at some stage, but we didn't guarantee that all the manufacturing plants will be in the country. However, we said through CSR and other activities, we will offer training centers here, we will offer jobs for the trainers and also medical practitioners, which they can utilize for using these devices. So these were some terms. We finally went from our end $8 to $9 million, and they were stuck at $16 million at last. That was the scenario.
Okay, so there's still a little gap to overcome,
Yes.
but it's also clear, I think, that you did quite a few things that the other MNC representatives didn't need to concede to without getting that deal.
Exactly.
So this is also an example of how different the
it
negotiation.
was a very, very hard bargain from the founders, especially founder one.
No,
So-
Okay. I think at that stage, we don't want to get personal. Yeah, you get the last word. Yeah, you're founder one after all. It's your invention.
So, the reason behind this dead talk is that there are many MNCs approaching me.
That's also a nice improvisation, yes. Okay, shall we first give a hand for these five? And then there are two people that are raising their hands, and then I hand over to the observers.
The only thing that founder one appears to be very polite and humble. He cannot be the hard, negotiator.
Well,
Looks are always deceptive.
yeah, I think this game has already shown you, don't go on appearances, because
I had a tough job with negotiating with founder one as well, because founder one proposed 20 million as well. But it was more that I showed figures in terms of my turnover of the company, which was like 1 million USD, and then I said like I'm paying you 10% of what my company is worth. So it's quite big. So this was somehow I tried to, scale it down.
yeah. Okay.
This mandate that we were given, I was under the impression that we shouldn't be sharing all the details with everyone. So this was a business meeting. I don't think we had to discuss that our sister was sick. I didn't mention it to anyone.
Yeah.
So
It was not
that
mentioned in our
that was a big difference I saw with the other two groups.
No,
They-
because
they
it
just-
was mentioned in the Minister of Industry's paper.
Yeah, the Ministry of Industry person,
Be a side talk.
but that is the only person who knew. So if it comes out in the open, then that person has sort of spilled that confidential information into the meeting. And apparently this has happened only in one of the three groups. Yes. Yeah, no, and quite early on, because I remember walking around. It was brought in from the very beginning to sort of give the whole debate also a personal touch, which has changed the dynamics in your group as compared to the other two groups.
That's one thing that government does.
This is one thing that government does, yes. No, let's say there are two different things you can say about that. One is that is clever strategy from your end. Two is, to what extent it is indeed ethical to do that is a different thing. But that you played your role well, that is clear. Yes.
In our case, the founders shared this. The founder one actually shared this particular thing, and
Okay.
he did that at the beginning.
Okay.
So he was clear about it, and in that scenario, we tried to accommodate that. Actually, he used this strategy as a stick that I need this more, and I'll.
Yeah.
So that's what his strategy.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Are we okay now? Because then I'm going to ask the observers to share some of, not all, but some of the more striking highlights, also in terms of the differences between the groups. If you would like to start.
Thanks, Peter. Well, this was a very interesting conversation which went around in 3 groups, and I really liked it. In fact, in many of the negotiation, I myself is involved on a day-to-day basis, and some of the very important, teachings for me too. While the thing. Well, this is just what I could, collect the data or the information while discussing on the various groups, and also grow with the group 3. That is the first one when they were sitting in that ground, and that is the group green, because he is wearing a green shirt. I can see. But the most important thing that initially I found that, see, in each and every group, I could find that one particular person, either it is the government, either is the founder, or is the government founder, or maybe the industry. They are very strong in convincing the matter in the negotiations table with a very subtle words and all. They can come up and different kind of a strategy they have done it. Like for example, in the group green, I would say, when I was listening to the gentleman there, he came up with almost 14 lucrative offers for the founders.
And then it failed.
No.
And then he got frustrated.
So the 14 lucrative points came up there, and one after another, and the way he was articulating those negotiation points, it was really commendable. It looks like that he was doing it from he is a real representative of a MNC, and the way he was, one point is coming to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. He was trying to use what is called as a carrot and stick policy. You take this or you will get bitten. You take this or you will get bitten. So he was playing exactly that thing. I really liked about that particular thing. And also it started with, because I couldn't continue, because started when the discussion was going on with a 25% equity, I remember. But one thing, what was my observation was that both the founders, the person with the Audi cap and that founder, do they have some kind of a real synchronization among themselves? That thing I had a lacking there. From my point of, I may not have continued later, but initially there was that synchronization was not there, so it was lacking from my side. So that was the one observation from this. Group yellow, and that was, really founder one was very strong. No China business. No China business. If there would have been a table, he would have said that. No China business. Am I right? So no China business. Only she was more focused on doing that entire thing and uplifting the company of that country where he is representing. Basically, that group was a social enterprise. Entire group was looking towards benefit of the society. That how the societal benefit would be an optimum. Maybe in some of the things we may compromise, but end of the day, it is for the benefit of the society, whatever comes into the picture. And they really compromised in many things, and I could understand that. Yes, he was wearing a beautiful, blazer. He was trying to put together. He's a very strategist, putting together all his things, and he got it done, because I could not hear the last thing. But there were a lot of things are there, because like for example, the founder 1 and 2, they discussed out, they went out of the, the discussion itself, and they came back and said, no more China business, it has to be in India. You bring in the business in India, that is what you decided and all. And lot of, but what more surprising is, probably it is your, I don't know whether it is your ignorance or what, I don't know. You want to give away your IPR. That was actually raised my eyebrows, because giving away the the IPR is, you should think several times before giving away an IPR, and probably you need to have, generally we have an IPR lawyer with us before giving away the compliances and everything. That's a very, very important area which I looked into, and I'm happy that, and in fact he came up with the CSR fundings, he was showing the thing, all these components were coming up. So it was a more of a societal benefit group, which I would say, because end of the day they want to give a benefit to the entire society, whatever be, even if I'm losing something from my time, or maybe I'm not getting so much of money, but I'm going to give a benefit to the society. So that was the second group.
And the third group was quite different again, I think.
This group was different. And unfortunately, she is my PhD student, so I'm very happy. See, she was a listener. Here, only dominant party was government. Lo ya jao. That was the, you take or you leave. That was the ultimate answer. I'll tell you why. And one of the important thing of this group is, they kept the commerce as a secret advisor. You have done the commerce, na? So she was part of the advisory, small advisory group and all, and they were having a separate discussion. That was a very innovative thing they have come up with that. Probably they know each other, or maybe from the same university there. But one important component of the group that the government says, you don't have a trust on the government. Forget about it. Who is going to give you the compliances? Who is going to give you the compliances to work in the market? After all, it is the government. And the government was so strong, probably as some additional secretary or somebody, I don't have enough day on time for you to come back and to discuss this matter on a never-ending way. That is the typical government language. So you have to finish it up today itself and give it a thrust. Suddenly, I really liked it. So ultimately, whatever the deal was done by the government only. Huh?
So this is China style government.
It is same. I would. And the classical part is that the government was so strong. They, in fact, between the MNC and the founders, they came up with like 5 years land they are going to lease to the company. Very interestingly, they came up, which is out of that documentation which was given. Then quality content has to be maintained, and there would be a evaluation. Government looked at it from a balanced point of view, because government personnel wants to gain the trust of the entire, of the trust of the MNCs. He wants to trust of the founders as an individuals. That's very important. So it started with 50-40, came to 30-30-40, and ultimately I think came down. Last I heard that it was 20-30-50. That was that it came down. So that was a very interesting thing which went, and lot of government benefits. That's why actually here I would say the government was giving them the benefits. Government was giving to the benefits. If you do the deal, I'll give you a tax concession. Who gives that? If you do it, you give them, after 5 years, you give them, the deal was on 10 million, after 5 years you give it 12 million, I'll give you something more. So the government was playing a very pragmatic role in this area. So these are the three groups. But at the end of it, it's from my own experience, I would say, rather in so much of negotiations I do on a daily basis on a real field. one of the important thing which you need to understand is that before going for any negotiation, we have to do a homework. We have to do a background check, we have to do a lot of homework, and I do it. Because without doing that, we never can have that. I mean, we need to do a background check and all. Second thing is that, see, like for example, TB, we need to understand that tuberculosis is a national disease today in India. We need to collect a lot of data, and lot of things are very pragmatic as an epidemiological level. It is more pragmatic in the rural sector than in the urban sector. So because of the poverty, downtrodden, and the situations in the rural sectors and all, where many of the cause and intrinsic factors are involved in it. So we need to understand those dynamics and the ecosystem, that where it is more prevalent than the other divide. That's an area. And another thing is that probably when the negotiation is taking place, there should be a balanced team. There should be a balanced team, and mostly the negotiations, Peter, I find that it always comes neither on a hard, sometimes it is hard, I've seen the hardest part, I've seen the soft part, but most of the negotiation comes to a striking deal when there is a middle path. You step forward too, I step forward too, and you come to a point, and then with the things. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing your insights, but also your own experience. Let me say one point on this, and then I will ask you also to comment, because it's becoming increasingly difficult. So many things have been said already. That's the background check point. The importance of preparing well. The guy who prepared that PowerPoint is a professional mediator from the United States. And he tells me that most negotiators actually do not do their homework properly. And that is a major reason why during the process they feel lost. Because they think, okay, can I get away with 10 million, 15? What about the patent? What about IPR? What about this, that, and the other? If you haven't thought that through in advance and know what the other side is looking for, do they have production facilities in China or not? Are they willing to actually put it in your context or not? Or is it a no-go? Yeah, you can find these things out. So good background research is a must. And the professionals tell me that very few people actually do it. So if you do it, you have an advantage. So maybe a lesson to take home. Please, if you would like to add a few, just a few additional points.
The group on the left of my seat, I would basically say that the founders had an individual, means of negotiating what they expected from the deal. So there was sort of a shared interest, while recognizing that the NGO founder was willing to give up her selfish interests in favor of the founder needing funds for medical treatment, and the fact that she had already made it a point to reveal it at the beginning of the discussion shows. You mentioned that. You just mentioned that. Okay, in case that was not mentioned at the beginning of the discussion, then also there was a means of internal negotiation for what was essentially an interpersonal discussion as to the sharing of what they get from the deal. So in a sense, their compassion, mutual compassion, resolved that issue in a much better way, and that's where this particular group had a better set of founders who actually knew each other for a longer period of time. They knew each other so well that they understood each other's views. Of course, I would say that the MNC in question was driving a really hard bargain right from the word go, irrespective of what he had in terms of the side discussions with the Chamber of Commerce. So there's a clear difference in what they say and what they actually do. So that part of MNC behavior is well known and well documented. As far as the Ministry of Industry is concerned, I think it was like the nonplussed partner between the whole group, trying to figure out where do I step in. As in, if they have to give and take something, they could not carve out a role for themselves. So that is one problem I see with that group. that the industry group was not able to articulate its position to a greater extent. As far as the group 2, which Dr. Ganguly has also mentioned rather eloquently, I agree with most of his points based on what I heard, because I didn't get the benefit of hearing to their discussion. But I would agree on the point that they were insistent on no China manufacturing, the government steering the whole process, the government actually controlling the whole process. So I would leave those comments for the group 2 on that. As far as the group 3 is concerned, the government had a more proactive role, which I would agree is also in view of their own understanding of their limitations. So they did not promise or overreach themselves, but founders prevaricated from a very defensive position of not wanting to give up any form of ownership to even giving ownership, but there were a lot of steps they went in between before that. As far as the MNC is concerned, my empathies with the MNC in this group are for very obvious reasons. That of the 14 proposals, 9 were very forward-looking and socially oriented, and did not seem like an MNC coming up with a proposal. And at the end, which I heard, he was eventually so frustrated that his articulation came down to the price and the time to market. So when he said things like that, I could have done this myself, but for the time, then that's where I see his frustration. And all his points on setting up an R&D center, willing to do certain things in areas where it would practically be impossible. You can promise a lot of things, but if you don't deliver them, then they're as good as moonshine. Because if you tell them that we'll set up an R&D center in a place where there are not even educated people, then that's a half-hearted promise. So at least I will recognize the last group for not making half-hearted promises. Although they left it for another day, but they did not make half-hearted promises to each other. So in that term, the dynamic is still open. There is a possibility here. In terms of the dynamic being open in group 2, I think it's more or less a closed and shut case. They either want you to do it or just walk out of the room. So, and as far as group 1, the only thing I will always, as I always say, is the one who first to reach a negotiation may not be the one who's cut the best deal. So it could also be that they have seen short-term goals and not willing to see the longer-term goals. So that would be one of those things.
Yeah, thanks. That's a very thoughtful final comment indeed. That we may be very proud of the group that cuts the quickest deal, but is that also the best deal over time? That is a question. Sardinu.
Well, nothing much left, perhaps.
Well, but I saw you making notes, so I assume you have something.
I did take notes. I mean, these are, well, in a sense, my questions to all of you, whether some of these things did play a role. I'm trying to gather maybe 4 points. One is that social relations matter in a negotiation game. Something that I sort of picked up from, I think, Shantanu's points or description of 1 or 2 cases where they could have a bilateral conversation or they could convince each other. So whether that is something that we need to analyze more carefully. The other point is founders' say in the whole thing is something that all of us seem to be giving a lot of importance to, which means somebody who innovated, he or she should have some rights. Now this is not a very automatic thing. You might say that, look, you might have benefited, but if it doesn't reach the society, what is the question of your benefit? Right? You have done it for the society, so let the society realize the benefit. That would be a very utilitarian way of looking at it, right? but a very libertarian way of looking at it is no, it is the innovator who has done it, and therefore we should first give them the say, give them to decide what they want, how they want, etc. These are really two different positions when it comes to even innovation discourses. Who will get how much benefits from of whom, etc. And this is quite evident even in grassroots innovation transfers, right? In a lot of occasions, the founders say, no, this is my technology. I should not have lost control over the technology, right? And so I'm not saying good or bad. I'm saying this is there, and this is something that we also feel quite, in many occasions. So, for example, this whole idea of copyright, not only copyrights, there's Creative Commons, that we will not be giving it to big journals who are sort of taking all the ownership, and that is not leading to circulation, because our objectives are different, and we are the innovator, creator of knowledge. We should have that right to decide whom to give, and it should reach the people, etc., etc. Right? And I think the final thing was about heuristics. I think we were trying to also understand how improvisations played a role, and I could see that improvisations have played a role, at least for the MNCs and the government. They have given all kinds of lucrative offers, improvising from their own experience, position, going beyond the draft. But maybe we'd like to have more information about how these things are played out. But it does. I mean, but it also shows that not always it is successful. Improvisations are not always successful in real life situations. So this is a part of research that we are now trying to organize more carefully. That when can we say that improvisations become more effective and successful? Under what conditions? When it fails. So these are the things I just noticed. I mean, this is not to say that who is better, who is not better, who is not good, because I agree with the fact that a deal struck is not always a good idea also. But of course, a deal struck is a milestone to achieve. So thank you very much, and thank you for the gift.
Yeah, my pleasure. And maybe to pick up on your last point, Saradinu, that indeed we also had a meeting earlier today, online meeting with people in the Netherlands about a research agenda around looking more in detail at these heuristics sorts of issues. So next to the protocols in how innovations are developed in an R&D lab kind of context, for example. Also in an R&D lab, there are improvisations. There are ways of trying to see, okay, maybe let's do it like this, even though it's not in the protocol, but yeah, I got a gut feeling that maybe this may work. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, they don't report it because, well, it sounds like you're just sort of messing around, right? But if it does work, it suddenly you've done something new. Now, in the grassroots innovation domain, it's all about improvisations. However, in innovation research, we don't know much about how these processes actually unfold. Yeah? So we are discussing at the moment how sort of people working on frugal innovation and grassroots innovations can start developing a research agenda around this dimension as a sort of a new area for future research. So if in any way that sounds appealing to you, do contact us and we can see how we might involve you also in helping us to develop this further. Otherwise, I don't think I want to say much more. I thought this was a very fun afternoon, and my impression was from the sort of energy that most of you put in this that you also enjoyed it. As I mentioned to you earlier, this is only the second time that this game is being sort of put to use. The first time was in October with the class students in the Netherlands. And I've learned quite a lot about things that maybe I want to change a little bit here or there, because we're all in the process of learning and improving after all. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. So thanks very much for putting that energy in. And if you want to meet tomorrow, that's fine. About this, you don't need to come to a conclusion tomorrow and send me the details. You're off the hook. Yeah. So thank you very much for that and playing that game. I think, yeah.
I think we have the last session now to what we call the reflection session or a feedback session, and that is part of the rule book that has been given to us. And we should have this discussion maybe also recorded. So feel free to tell us about the course, the things that you enjoyed, things that you probably thought, okay, maybe we should have had other discussions as well. And if you have any plan to suggest, Padmaja will coordinate the session. If you have any plans to suggest to, as you know, Professor Patnaik said on the first day, this is meant for network building. So if you have any thoughts that, okay, this is how we can take it forward, please do suggest to us that as well, so that we can discuss and take it forward. Padmaja, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bhaduri. So I would also like to add just one more point to what Professor Bhaduri has said. While sharing your reflections, I would also want you to go back to day one, starting from how the context was set, how the history has been told to you or presented before you, and finally to today's game. How do you think the evolution of the helix models have been applied in today's negotiations amongst the participants themselves? And any other additional points would be most welcome from you. So I would open the floor now. Anybody that would like to go first?
Okay. Hello, I am Devyani Srivastav and I am a master's student from Terry School of Advanced Studies, where I am pursuing my master's in public policy and sustainable development. So the entire concept of quadruple helix fits in very well with the kind of course that I'm pursuing, and I would sort of reorient the quadruple helix with the government being part of the bigger outer circle, mainly because, at least in terms of India, I feel that the innovation ecosystem in India is mission oriented, which was said in the yesterday's lecture as well. And I also feel that a lot of innovation that is happening in India is through the nudging of the government. Now, how good that is there space for private participation? Is there space for market? Are we getting efficient solutions? That's a different question. But I feel like a lot of discussion when it comes to frugal innovation and India should keep the government aspect to be at the center, because that is the reality. And maybe in terms of the future orientation, we see where the space is for private participation and sort of marketization of frugal innovation. So thank you so much for this. I feel like a lot of work that I can also do going forward. This framework helps a lot, and it's a very holistic framework. So yeah, that would and other thing would be that I also feel that one of the conversations yesterday was about how do we culturally incentivize frugal innovation, and which brings me to the fact that maybe in terms of policy making, we need to include behavioral scientists in this question of how do you create a policy which propels frugal innovation forward. So I think that is maybe a scope for intervention. Yeah, that is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Divyani, for your wonderful feedback. So, anybody else? Yes.
So it's my first experience of this kind of seminar. I have experience of healthcare industry, and what I have in impression as a MNC worker that as on day one, Professor has mentioned that this research innovation is most of a developed country who has a high GDP and per capita income. But after attending the session online and offline, what I will yes, this has to be changed. This concept and thought has to be changed. The frugal innovation ideally should be for the lower or the developing countries for these kind of and especially for the country India where health where GDP has less than 2% government is investing and many sector also. So frugal is more for developing nations and we should think more in this line.
Can I ask you a question back?
Yeah.
Why don't you think frugal innovation shouldn't be promoted in developed countries?
No, not. My instance is not only because earlier we thought the huge R&D and GDP significant amount has been invested by the developed country only, like especially the pharma companies, the Johnson and the Pfizer and the GSK in terms of. And in Indian pharma company, only very less amount has been invested on frugal innovation or R&D. Only the sales and the marketing, huge amount has been invested. So in this way. Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, Siddharth.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Siddharth Dangi. I'm doing a PhD in Center for Studies in Science Policy in JNU. Although my focus is on forensic science policies in India, but I have been part of TRCFS meetings earlier as well, and I'm very much keen on exploring the concept of frugality in forensic science and innovations in the field of forensic science. Well, the idea since the beginning, when Professor Noringa kind of gave the conception of the idea and the context and the landscape, I was keen on exploring it, the quadruple helix and the idea of frugal innovations in the field of forensic science, and how I can identify the players, who are the innovators. So that was something I was keen on, and I would look forward if I could work on it. The other thing was one of the lectures by Professor Bhaduri, which was about conceptualizing frugality and what frugal is. So that is something I would like to reiterate, since he mentioned that we need to create a positive narrative about the terms frugal and frugality. And to that, I think I mentioned the idea of using the concepts of philosophy of science, which is one of the concept is principle of parsimony, which is selecting the best of the hypothesis from the possible options. So something like that can be applied to the conceptualization of frugality and giving frugality a more positive connotation, so that people are readily accepting the idea of frugality, like not demonizing or negating it altogether. So this is my take on it. All in all, the simulation game was a fresh activity to do. It was quite interesting to participate in, and mostly the idea of quadruple and quintuple helix was it can also include the legal approach, which I mentioned as well in one of the lectures. So it can incorporate the legal approach to how we are dealing with all these helixes, let's say. And that would be it. I think all in all, the course was really enlightening. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Siddharth. Yes, Ali.
Thank you. Thank you for this session, the 5 days course.
Actually, my name is Ali and I'm from Ladakh and I'm working on the policy aspects of Sibakthon. And hopefully in the coming days, I will submit my thesis. So what I found is that if we talk about the evolution of the helixes from triple helix to this quadruple helix and quintuple helix, I see the same picture on ground when I talk about the Sibakthon policy making, especially in the region, remote quarters of the country like Ladakh. So what I saw that during my field observations, I came to know that there are many stakeholders who are working in the Sibakthon industry, and when it comes to the policy making, then I came to know from one of the person who is the representative from the government side that government is playing more and more, I mean, the proactive role in the policy making, and there are other stakeholders like DIHAR we have, Defense Institute of High Altitude Research and the RDO, the research organization. Then the research scholars are there. Then we have this the processors, the manufacturers, and the harvesters. So the aspiration of all the stakeholders, unfortunately, I saw not been taken into consideration. And at one point of time, me and my supervisor Badri sir, we had a discussion that how you planning the cultivation of Sibakthon. Sibakthon is a plant, like it's a shrubby plant. It's a very, I mean, this what we can call as is a sort of shrubby plant. So, but economically very important plant, and this plant is being used by the Amchi system of medicine or the Soarikpa from centuries. And Amchi system of medicine is an alternative system of medicine in Ladakh. So at one point of time, we came to know that the participant was a scientist, and he proposed that the cultivation of this plant can be made in a way like 9:1 ratio, meaning 9 male plants and 1 female plants. So then the ecologist, there was an ecologist with us, Dr. Abhinandan Saika with us. So he pointed out, like, how can you ensure the 100% pollination, successful pollination, if, for example, you say the female plant goes out. So then comes the ecology or the nature part. So what I am trying to say is that taking into consideration the quintuple helix, the policymakers, they can make a lot of differences in policy making as such. So nature is most important. So that's what I say actually.
Yeah, I think that's a very good observation. I mean, I must, re-emphasizing the point that, this is one concrete way, and thanks Ali for sort of bringing it on board. This is one concrete way where quintuple helix can be seen differently from quadruple helix, right? Because in the quadruple helix model, the government organization was giving more importance to the logistics of how to cultivate the Sibakthon plant, so that the plucking of the fruits become easier and it becomes more efficient. Now, what this co-author of ours brought to the discussion was that yes, that might be so for a while, but in case of a natural calamity or so on, it might actually destroy the entire plantation, because you are taking an approach which is not ecologically sustainable, right? So bringing nature into the whole discussion was done in that way, and we are actually very happy that we could mention it to them, or in a last paper that has come out, we are categorically stating that point. And thanks, I mean, I forgot that yes, we have also probably done something to make that point more visible, and this is one way of operationalizing quintuple helix. I mean, going beyond quadruple helix, because it's sometimes very abstract. What do you really mean by bringing nature into the discussion, right? How do we do so? And so, but probably what it also shows that there are sensitive people within the quadruple helix who can do that. So one can debate that whether the conceptualization of quintuple helix should be done separately, or quadruple helix has its potential to include the dimension of the nature playing a role in the dynamics. But thanks, Ali. Yeah, it is indeed one very concrete example.
Yes, I think it also goes on to highlight the point of, the knowledge power dynamics that we have discussed. As soon as the nature element comes into the helix structure, it becomes more evident with examples such as this about the inequality of the power dynamics among actors. So thanks for highlighting that again as well. And yes, Megha.
My name is Megha and I am from the economics background. So what we can see is that there are two things, demand and supply. So definitely the focus now should more be maybe demand driven, and that is where the quadruple helix will actually come from, and that is when we are talking about the local based solutions. Moreover, this course has also informed what should be the the information parameters for government from actually suppliers. Let's say even like just Bhaduri sir just noticed, I mean just he made a point about the nature. So again, that is one thing that again that should be something from where the suppliers should actually think about, and demand is where from us it will come. And I think the demand would largely, maybe it will come when we actually conceptualize frugality, and that is what I guess my fellow participant Siddharth actually pointed out, the frugality in actually a good way. That will take time, but that is something that should kind of be institutionalized maybe in a way, and that is somewhere I think the ethical considerations come, like what are the ethical considerations. And today it actually made a point while we were all negotiating, that where ethics come from, what are we placing first. And I think that might play a very serious role with related to negotiation with respect to coming to a solution with respect to quadruple or even quintuple helix, because the ethical, I think that will be something that should be along with behavior scientists, yes, but yes, ethics will be something that even they can be molded. Like yesterday even Madhav sir also pointed out that it could be a norm, it could be framed as a norm, but it will take time, and it generally comes from an organization. So I think it will be impossible for someone to be bigger than someone like Gandhi, but from organization level it can be something that will take time. But I guess if people locally demand it, then government maybe listens it soon, and it could it could be something that behavior is actually gets into the government and government gets into us also, but it could be vice versa, but it could be a little flexible situation also depending on ethics. So that is what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Megha, for bringing in the philosophical discussion into this. Rajat, you wanted to say something? So I think then it is a good time to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your suggestions, some wonderful concrete suggestions, some wonderful conceptual questions as well, kind of would help us, make our arguments or our research agenda more robust. So to wrap it up, I would like to invite Professor Bhaduri to deliver a small note of thanks to all of you.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, this is also a very tricky moment. Huh? I mean, you consider you call it a formal vote of thanks, and then you forget to thank someone. So I first say that thank you all who have sort of helped to make this event a reality. Friends behind the camera, thank you very much. Of course, Padmaja and Tanya have been, meticulously working on this, right? All of you have made it a very successful event through your participation, very active participation, and that's something which matters. So thank you all. Thank you, Professor Noringa. Thank you, Peter, for agreeing and having the patience, because we first applied for this workshop in 2019, and then because of the pandemic, everything went in a disarray. Then again it came back, and when it came back for the second time, we were not sure whether this time as well it will have a kind of a definitive outcome within a short span of time, but yet he sort of wanted to give it a go, and there we are. So I think that deserves a compliment from our side, and thanks very much. I must say the Gyan JNU cell and the Gyan IIT Hyderabad cell, they have done very good coordination among themselves, especially both the national coordinator and the local coordinator have been very accessible, and that made a difference, because as I said, after the first delay, when we were unsure of whether it will happen at a time when we wanted it to happen, and that is like this February-March moment for various reasons. I mean, they were very sort of quick in answering our to our calls and seeing it through. So thank you to them, a big thanks to them. It has been made possible by this new grants by the Ministry of Education, and I think that's a lovely grant. We should, maybe all of us should do something to tell them that maybe we should make this grant a bit bigger, so that we can accommodate the participants, give them some accommodation inside the campus, because otherwise it is becoming a bit difficult to get the research scholars who are not from Delhi in this case to come and participate in the discussion. I mean, in-person participation is always much better than online participation. So maybe we could develop a mechanism by which we can say that it's a very good grant, we should have more of it, and how to make it sort of more flexible so that young scholars can participate more. Yeah? Of course, my center has been with me in this endeavor. Some of them could participate also in some of the discussions. And yeah, I think if I have missed out on any name, I must say it is my personal inability to remember, not that they haven't really worked for it. So thank you very much. And please join us for high tea.
Yes, before the high tea, I request you, if you don't mind, that we take a group photo outside.
Yeah, okay, yes.